no compunction at all. I killed them because they were all horrible. They were monster children. And I would not release them onto the world. It just, it would took no effort to, I would sit with a big, thick, fat black marker and just go squish, squish, squish through page after page after page without a problem, because there was a quality of feyness, a quality of campness, a quality of othering, a quality of horrible. Sorry, sir. One doesn't. It wasn't working. Okay? Let's just keep it simple. Otherwise, you'll think, "Arey, ye book mein bhi wo sab cheeze hai to kya?" No. So I didn't have a problem with that.
But I mean, you're making it sound very easy, but it's really hard to be objective about your own work, right? I mean, how do you identify the darlings that deserve to be killed as opposed to the ones you keep? So,
very often what happens is that you're killing something. You're in the process of saying this goes, and you see a single phrase that you want to rescue. Now the question is, will you rescue that phrase on its own and do the hoskote on it, what I call the hoskote on it? Because Ranjit Hoskote has this beautiful set of notebooks in which, in a beautiful flowing handwriting, he writes stray phrases that occur to him. And they're all, diamond-like in their combination of the sensuous and the abstract. And they come together in this. And then he whisks through these notebooks, so he says, and whole poems jump out at him like Athena from the skull of Zeus or whatever. And I want like that to happen to me, But nothing like that happens. Phrases are there. And the phrases just stay there looking up at you and saying, use me, use me. And I try. I take out one thing called the radiance of her flushed forehead, of the sweat on her flushed forehead. And I'm writing it down and thinking, ye kya hai re? Why you saved this at all only in the first place? Chi datti, let it go now. Abandoned. So, for me, I think if you wait long enough, anything can die on you. That's the problem. The problem is actually it's like it's like knowing when to eat your mangoes. Because every mango that you see right now is perfect. It is orangey, golden, flushed, and it's all sour inside. Have you noticed? Did you eat a mango this year that was completely perfect? If you did, you got it from Harrods. So my thing is, now you're looking at the mangoes of your writing. How do you know that what you are writing is good, not just for yourself, not just for that moment, but in a way that will reach out? So one of the terrors of finishing the book was, these are 4 people. They live in a flat in Mahim, Mumbai, 400016. What is the connect with anybody else? How does this book break its 450 square feet of walls? How does it break out of its extreme specificity and reach anyone else? That's the second level of your terror. It's not just about have you written it well. It's about what is this book going to go out and say? How will you deal with it? How will you deal with its specificities?
yeah. So is this, this mango did take a lot of time to ripen, right? So, how did you know it was ready, and how many years did you spend waiting for it to get ready?
I started writing this book when I was 16. Because I'm 46 now, before, I know I don't look it and all that. But anyway, I started writing the book when I was 16 because I had a superstitious notion at the time that if you wrote it down, it became easier, whatever it was. So if you, I remember coming home from college one day and writing down my intense embarrassment at having been revealed as someone who had not read Homer. I thought if I wrote this down, then it would be easier to deal with, and largely it was. Because as you're writing it, you're thinking, I can read Homer now. I can go home and start reading Homer. I'll be okay. So it did seem to work sometimes. And I started writing the novel because I thought, as a 16-year-old, you think, I can write a novel. I know English. I know how to write a sentence. My teachers say I write good essays. So I can write a novel. So I started writing it, and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote for days and days and days. I wrote, and I thought this whole summer will pass and I will finish the novel. And 20 days later, I went to a friend and I said, how many words are there in a novel? Because I didn't know. So he took a Perry Mason off the shelf and he flipped open the first page and he counted the number of words in a line. Then he counted the number of lines on a page. Then he looked at the back of the book and he found out how many pages there were in the book. And he multiplied these three numbers and he came up with 40,000. He said, there are 40,000 words in this book. So I went home and did the same thing with my manuscript. And I counted the number of handwritten words. And I found that I had written 900 words. Okay. And I thought I was like 3/4 the way through this novel. So I said, I think I'll write poetry. So for a while I did actually write really bad poetry. I started writing decent poetry when I started writing my novel again, because you can't say, I don't have the stamina to write a novel, therefore I'll write poetry. It's just unfair to poetry and unfair to the novel. But those are your processes. Those are the ways you work when you're 16, when you want to be a writer so badly you can taste it inside your mouth. You dream bylines in the papers. You see shelves with your name on them. You see bestseller lists populated by yourself. Everything is coming together in your head. And there are often times when you're reading a book and you think, that's my book. I should have written this book and someone else just beat me to it. I still have that feeling from time to time. But what was the question?
Thank you. Doesn't matter. I'll go to the next question, so we won't have to worry with the past one.
How long did it take? Yeah, sorry. Correct. So then I was writing it on and off. And I wrote serious drafts of it. I wrote it as a play. I wrote it as a monologue for one person. I wrote it as a full-length he thing. I wrote it from the point of view of M inhabiting her head. I wrote it whenever, in various ways. And at the age of 40, I thought, at the age of 30, I took a job. For the first time in my life, I lost faith. And I said, I need a salary. I need to be safe. I need pension, provident fund. I need, to collect my bills and submit them to somebody. And I want to deal with HR offices. And I want to have all the problems other people talk about and be nice, be safe and comfy and whatnot. I don't want to be like this, going and teaching mathematics here and running there and writing one piece and then going and saying, Baba, check dena Baba, please na, Allah ke naam pe de de Baba check. So I didn't want to do all that, so I thought I'd get a job. So for 10 years I worked at a job. At the age of 40 I realized I'm getting old, I'm getting unemployable. This is the time now. If I don't quit now, I'll lose gut. I'll lose the ability to quit. So I quit and I walked out and I said, okay, now what? I said, okay, now I'll write the novel. Then if anyone asks you what you're doing, you can say, I'm writing the novel. And they say, oh, yes. Because that's, if you're a writer and you say, I'm writing a novel, everyone does that little nod. It's that new, this is a new face which says, I understand your pain even though I do not participate in it. Yeah. Okay. You have to close your eyes, stretch your eyebrows up a little and nod. And push your lips down a bit.